everybody. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button and share this video. All right, so we're back for SWV and Xscape, the Queens of R&B Season 1, Episode 4, Top Billing. Child, this... these people. Okay, so I want to address some things before we even get into the episode. Number one, so let's address the fact that this has been a badass news week for Candy and Latasha. Candy, you deserved it for that stunt that you tried to pull with being the headliner. That wasn't necessary. I'm not going to rock with you or Xscape on that. Do I think you can sing? Absolutely not. Next. And you deserved all them clips. Anyway, Latasha, as far as Tamika's money, you and Rocky need to pay it back. So any flack you're getting for that, you deserve it because I believe it. Now, number two, I also think you deserve the flack you're getting and probably more for the underhanded way you are playing Xscape. Now, I don't have to like or agree with everything Tiny and Candy do or whatever, but the bottom line is they kind of have plenty of other things going on. And for you to turn this around and use them and then use your sister, that's a whole nother category of using and mistreating people. I'm not cool with that. Now that I've said that, however, it's part of this bad news week, and I don't delve much into this stuff. Let me just go ahead and say this. This is where I stand on this, at least for now. I am not into, no, this is really what I believe regardless. I am not into this shaming women, the wives of men, when their husband cheats or has cheated or has done whatever, having babies outside the family. It doesn't help. Why are you still with him? You need to leave him. You need to stay away from him. The side chick talking all sideways. I'm not with this shaming the wife by giving airtime to a bunch of side chicks who are still getting attention because of the wife, in this case Latasha's fame and accomplishments. That shit is lame. That shit is whack. And it's another gut punch to women who have been cheated on. And the bottom line is, most people across the world, unless you have been very, very lucky or you are just oblivious and never found out, have been cheated on. And it hurts if you actually care about another person. And me, having lived the life that I've lived, have learned in my 35 years of living, that does not help people at all. My friends, the people I'm close to, the things I would have said then, I don't say now. Because I've learned that the embarrassment and the shame, sometimes instead of people walking away, most of the time what they do is double down. And that's a way of trying to protect themselves. So really, if you want them to get out of the situation, sometimes you have to be gentle and support them. And not necessarily support them in it. Ask questions. Well, is this really working for you? How do you feel? So on and so forth to kind of bring them out of it. But just that hardcore, oh yeah, he got this chick and this vlogger is putting this up. I'm not into that. I'm not into that game. All right, anyway, let's get to the episode. So, Coco and Taj are hanging out at the gym. She said, Taj said their relationship had seriously improved from 20 years ago. She said Coco was really, really catty. And everyone did what she said. She said if she wasn't talking to me, talking about Taj, nobody would talk to me at all. And I was like, that is some catty shit, but I believe every word of it. But when they were talking, they were like, we're on the same page as far as headlining. We need to be co-headlining. I'm not going back and forth with them about this. And that's the thing. SWV has sold more records, okay? But they have never said, okay, y'all want a headline? No, fuck it, we want a headline. They're just like, why can't we co-headline? All right, anyway. And they were like, we never had these problems with In Vogue and TLC. And they were like, and Taj was like, they sold more than SWV and Xscape combined. Thank you, Taj, for being the voice of reason. I love Taj. I love her character on this show. I shouldn't say character. I like who she is. Because she always keeps a level head, but she keeps it real. It's not fake. It's not manufactured. I like it. So, then Taj made that shady comment and said, No, it wasn't Taj. It was Coco. Coco made that shady comment in the confessional, and she was like, "Yeah, Escape could learn a thing or two from In Vogue with a 7 million record." Coco ain't letting that shit go, and I'm here for it. Okay, so Lily meets up with her manager. I mean, it's their manager, but I guess he manages them on different projects. So she's working on a book called Sister Hot Pussy. Okay. She says she has 10 chapters so far. I was like, how many pages are these a piece? 3? Triple space? Anyway, so she read a piece of her book, and she was talking essentially about a preacher's erection in church. Lily, you said yourself you want to be an established author, and it's important to have multiple streams of income. The multiple streams of income, I agree with. If you want to be an established author, please write something else. That oversaturated genre of hypersexualized black people, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. And quite frankly, I'm sure whatever you're doing is just sorry. All right. So Lily said they have matured. She's talking about SWV now, and she was like, and we understand how the business works. We know how to work with each other for business, if nothing else. She was like, it's not that SWV, we can't have our petty moments, but essentially we're not stuck in those. Like, we know how now to move on because we've grown up. And I respect that. And you can tell it's so obvious. So anyway, Taj and Tamika meet up at a restaurant. So they're in there talking about how they have to eat right, especially they have shows. And Taj says she's not trying to be in spandex and be bloated, even though she was eating things she didn't have no business. I hear you, girl, but don't starve. Don't starve. All right, so Tamika is taking notes on the outfits that they might want to wear in their style. She brought her notebook. She was doing her thing. So Taj said, she said, I always liked how the Spice Girls work. She was like, I even started the dolls. And that was cute. And how all of them wore something different, but you still knew they were part of the same show. And I can kind of get with that. I do not like Xscape's performance outfits, at least the ones that I've seen. I think Xscape forgot or has forgotten how old they are. And I think they should take notes from some of the greats like Anita Baker, the Whitney Houstons, even though Whitney Houston wasn't she was in her 40s when she died. Hell, even like a Lettucey. Like, I just want you to dress for your age. You can still be cute, bad. It just should be age appropriate. And what I mean by that is everything is not meant for you to wear. Everybody is not Beyonce. Matter of fact, Beyonce is the only Beyonce. Okay? Her, Michael Jackson are just people that just get to do what they want because they done work their motherfucking ass off and transcended stratospheres. Okay? Anyway, so I want Xscape to cut that out. Now, they are having a meeting at the apartment. I guess this is Taj's apartment here in Atlanta. And she's meeting up with SWV and Xscape because, they had that rough meeting where Candy wanted to try it. So Taj did the snacks. Taj did the snacks. Okay. So she said, well, I don't really drink wine. I hope they like it. So Coco really wasn't saying much. She was just kind of going along with it. And Lily walks in and said, Taj shouldn't be in charge of nobody's snacks. She said she done bought some lunch meat without any crackers. No bread, no nothing. Okay. So Lily, when Tiny walks in, starts joking about them 3 pieces of meat she set out. But anyway, they just kind of laugh about it. And Tamika is doing, she comes in and she's prepared and she's doing the creative stuff and she wanted to help. And typically in the past, Tasha has done like the vision of the stage, so on and so forth. So while Tamika is pulling out her binder, Coco asks, well, have we figured out yet, first of all, if we're headlining or co-headlining? And she goes, before we start about outfits and being happy-go-lucky with each other, I need us to be clear. And I was like, yes, Coco, don't play that game because this is about business, about money. If not, y'all go and do something else. And Coco goes, Candy. Coco don't play. I kind of like Coco. I like Coco. All right. And Candy starts laughing, and Latasha just goes, "We're co-headlining. We're done. Let's do it." And Candy said she didn't want Tasha making her appear as the difficult one, so she didn't push back. No, Candy, you made yourself look like the difficult one. Now, Candy did try to clean it up and said our group members the group did think we should headline. And I believe that. But Candy, you kept going and they kept giving you facts and numbers. Okay, because we know Coco give them numbers about y'all's albums. Okay? And so she said she didn't want to push back. She didn't want to look like the difficult one. All right, and there's a time to push and there's a time to pull back. I respect that, Candy. All right, and then Tamika starts sharing her ideas, and her sister in the confessional is like she's trying to take the creative stuff away from me, which is fine because she took away the sisterhood. I was like, that's mean. And the reason why I say that's mean is not necessarily just because of the words that Latasha said, but because one, they are sisters. Two, you have apparently done this over and over again. And I know what it is to be territorial about things that you enjoy. But from the sounds of the three of the four of you, you don't respond to text messages. You've been MIA. Nobody knows really where you are. They just know the possibility of you having a deal. Pay no attention to my outlet. Now y'all gonna all look at the outlet. But anyway, one of those days. Okay, so anyway, yeah. And she just said that, and I was just like, that is so ugly. That's just not a good way to be. And Candy is laughing in the confessional and was like, Tasha is pissed. She's trying to keep it together, but this is usually her arena. I know she want to scream. So Tamika's vision, okay, I'm not going to lie, is a little goofy with the horses and stuff. And Tiny shaded her a little bit and was like, you know, girl, it's corny, but it's cute. And Tamika, no, not Tiny, whose real name is Tamika. But Tiny goes, you know what? That was a damn good start. And I just thought, and you know, she starts going down into the do list of what everybody in each group should be doing, like costumes, whatever the case is. And everybody keeps saying that at least that's a good start. That was a little shady to keep saying that. But at the end of the day, like Tamika has never really apparently been able to shine the way she wanted to. And so, yeah, yeah, Latasha, that's not, Latasha, you are moving into a space where I don't like you, and I'm going to explain to you how this may affect you. I'm just speaking for me, but I'm just saying. So we get Candy in the studio, and Candy is trying to sing Coco's lyrics in Weak over the SWV sound in the studio, over Coco's lyrics. As Coco walks in, Candy, please stop. Candy, you have a lot of other talents. You can write songs. You know how to start and keep businesses. You don't have to keep trying to make us watch you try to make fetch happen. Okay, shout out to the Mean Girls. Anyway, so Coco is still not here for her son being a singer full time, but he goes down to the studio with her. So Tasha shows up too. And the energy shifts. The energy shifts for me even watching. Okay. So Candy asked her about the different songs they should use in the set. Like trying to include her, basically trying to, you know, look, let's just get this done. Because apparently they only have a few weeks. Beyonce would never. And if she did, she would still kill that shit. Anyway, that's why she only worked with Beyonce. Okay, anyway. So Candy said there is one song that Tasha never really liked. I can't remember the name of it. And Tasha, she says, you know, basically, are you willing to like just put it in the set? She said, because you want to end with a smash and start with a smash or whatever. Something like that. And she just goes, mm-hmm. And Candy goes, well, is that a yes or a no? Or I'll think about it. And she was like, I don't know. And I was just like, okay. Coco was like, well, what have you been thinking about? You know, like trying to just not get involved in a bullshit. And she was like, I haven't given it much thought, to be honest. Coco was like, well, why not? And you know, Coco, that was not how she was feeling on the inside, but she was trying to keep that shit tame. And I can respect that. And she goes, I have a lot going on. What a bitch, what you down at the studio for? The fuck out of here. Anyway, so Coco was like, the tension between Candy and Tasha is like being in a couple's bedroom. Like, should I be here right now? Candy was like, Tasha's attitude has been an attitude for months. Y'all are too old for that. Like, Tasha, just stop. I'm really over this petty shit between them because all of them are too grown and too old. And SWV is really killing y'all in the category of class. Just saying. Was it me or was the run back though? Let me stop here. The run back of those SWV songs and them videos hitting. I said, yes, I was literally downloading those hits on Apple Music. Like, it just took me back and it made me feel good. And I was like, even though I was a kid, like it just took me back, made me feel good. And I was like, that's what real R&B does. It does. Also, did y'all notice that all three of the ladies from SWV look the damn same? They look a little older because they older, but not like old. Like, yes. Okay? Yes to the black not cracking. And then you have Xscape, however. And I really wish, because I'm not going to shade Xscape on their hits. Understanding, My Little Secret, those are my bops. Okay? But however, I wish they would have just played their music in the background instead of showing us how terrible y'all looked in the 90s, especially on what seemed to be the Arsenio Hall show stage. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. So Candy's at Blaze, her restaurant with messy ass Don Juan. I was like, I forgot about you. I don't be following Candy shows like that. So Candy is talking about how their stuff is always together at the Candy Factory. Y'all do a lot of gossiping around the sinks and stuff, but that's okay. So she talks about how Coco, she basically redoes the studio incident. And she talks about how Coco brought in positive energy, brought her son. She said, then she talks about Latasha having an attitude. And Don Juan was like all aggressive, all into what the fuck is her problem? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, Don Juan, don't get your pink panties in a bunch. To quote, don't ask me where that line came from or why I remember it. Anyway, okay. So Don Juan was like, well, what else is she going to do? Good question. Okay. Now, Candy explains that this is typical of Latasha. Whenever, she gets ready to blow up, she leaves them in the dust. And Candy said what I said in my review after the first episode. Xscape is her safety net. And that's really why she keeps not really giving them an answer, half giving an answer in case it doesn't work out. But she was real bold when she was like, no, we co-headlining. And granted, that was the right decision to make. But still, it was her spirit. The way she would, it was not meant for good. All right. Anyway, I just think, yeah, if this doesn't work out, she'll go back to singing with Xscape. So apparently, Tasha told Tiny and Tamika, according to Candy, when she first went solo, y'all go ahead and keep making babies. And Candy was like, that was really offensive to act like that was the only thing that they could do. And I was like, that's not the first time I heard that story. And I believe it. And people say some really fucked up things. And we say some really fucked up things as black women to each other. And I don't like it. Now, I'm not saying they should hold, Tamika and Tiny should be holding that statement against Tasha for the rest of her life. But Tasha, on the other hand, you can't pretend like you didn't say those things before and not try to apologize. And I don't think Candy would have brought that up in her and Tiny being so close if Tasha had apologized. That's just what I think. So Don Juan said to Candy not to make Tasha a priority when she's only willing to make you an option. And Candy acted like that was so deep. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. Was I the only one on Facebook 10 years ago when everybody had that meme posted? Okay. When I was in my mid-20s, early 20s, and we were, learning things that young women learn at that age. Okay. But all right, Candy girl. Anyway, so Coco and Taj go to press. Isn't that Rashida's store? Anyway. So Rashida has a shirt in that store from that whack-ass song she had. Put it on a man and make him want to marry me. And Taj is reading the shirt and she goes, no. It says, I've been there and done that. I said, yes, ma'am. Okay, so they are talking about going to school and singing. Taj said, she said, well, Coco was like, Taj, well, you had a son that's about to go to college. She was like, yep. And I had one that already graduated. I said, okay. Um, so Tasha said she left college because her music career took off. And she said when the group broke up, she didn't have anything to fall back on. And I appreciate that advice because there are enough stories like this of the music industry where things go bad and people believe they can make it. And the music industry is just so different. Even now, like before, you had a whole machine behind you after you auditioned and they thought they could market you. Like now, you just kind of on your own. Like, yeah. Um, so she was just making a point. Like, my life, I just didn't have anything else. So, child, Tiny, Candy, and Tamika start practicing for the upcoming show, which is what one should do when preparing for a performance. Candy was the lead singer during practice. Candy, I'm begging you. Please, just write music. We can give you your credit where credit is due, but I can't with the singing. I can't. Latasha didn't come to the rehearsal. Then Bravo's shady ass starts playing the music as I stand here contemplating on the right thing to decide. As she's preparing to sign her a gospel. Bravo ain't shit. Um, and Latasha is home preparing to sign the contract for her solo album. She is so happy. Tasha, but you are shady and whack. And you should tell them you don't want to do it or go to rehearsal or tell them you're not going to rehearsal. It's just giving, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to be disruptive to their success and focus on my own. Instead of I'm going to focus on my own, but I'm not trying to mess up what they're doing. All right? So I'm not into that. And she's explaining that R&B has been her bread and butter, but she wants to sing gospel. And I was just sitting there like, why did Rocky set up this whole scene asking her questions like he didn't know the answer, like they hadn't talked about this in their bed and all this other shit for weeks? So Xscape is practicing understanding. Candy is trying to sing that same high-pitched note that went viral again this week. Tamika, you killed your part, girl. I'm rooting for you, Tamika. I'm rooting for you because I know what it feels like sometimes to not feel like you are getting the respect you need in your family. Now, Candy is correct. When Candy asked, why do y'all continue to let Tasha set the rules? Like, she is not at rehearsal. The road manager asked them, well, okay, well, will y'all check the fourth mic to help Latasha sound check? Candy was like, she's not gonna even be at the sound check. Now, I ain't in nobody's music industry. I don't have nobody's vocals, but I do know singers do sound checks. Okay, so was it me or did the road manager look like a deer in the headlights, or like she was kind of slow? Like she didn't have an answer to nothing. She didn't look like she knew what was going on. She had one like AirPod in. She not really answering questions, and I'm like, does she work for everybody or just y'all? Like, what the fuck? So anyway, Candy is going off, saying that Tasha is acting like she's Diana Ross and we're the Supreme. She was like, no, better yet, that she's Gladys Knight and we the Pips. And but the Pips was good though. The Supremes were good. Diana Ross got bumped. Well, we're not gonna get into that. So Tasha talking about how she prayed on it and God gave it to her, this solo album. Then she says for the first time in her life, she is doing life on her own terms. And that caused for a pause for me. I was like, girl, you are well into your 40s. And this is the first time you are living life on your own terms. That's not Xscape's fault. It's not. That marriage you're in may also be something to look at. And just your personal choices in general, like showing up to a studio session and being purposely difficult with Candy just to be difficult. Okay? So Tamika is singing Latasha's parts in case she doesn't show up. She's like willing to practice. She's all in. And Tamika's like, I'm not going to let nobody mess up my money. And you know what, Tamika? Good for you. When I say I'm rooting for you, I really am. And with that, I am done with this review. Y'all have a wonderful week and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.